that be at our detriment or at our benefit? Did we see these ministries bringing in a lot of benefits, or let me say a lot of profits? Was it on the good side? If that was not, if we weren't saying that, it means that we were not doing ourselves any good. Even though we saw that we are exploring, economic activities, or we are growing economic activities. If that is not seen, if the profitability is not seen, then there was no need for us to have established a lot of ministries. If we see that these are bringing, good benefit, and then we are, benefiting from it, then we can say that. But in my opinion, it didn't. So if we are saying, for instance, when you look at our treasury bills, the government borrows, and what he does is that he pays back the previous maturities, and then the rest is used for operation. How is this going to actually put us in an economy that is very productive? You get it? So some of these things, if we critically look at them well, and we look at even the data that accompanies it, we'll be able to make that kind of, differences. So for me, I don't think it really balanced out.
Right. So you are telling us the indicators, which you think has helped us, and you've spoken about the mop-up and the fiscal consolidation. Yeah. Is there any other you think has?
Yes. So I think the exchange rate too also did us good.
But for the exchange rate, people also raise concerns about the gold. The gold,
the reserve.
Yes, that now that we have a single player who buys it, and we are able to export it at a competitive price. Do you think it's also contributed?
Yes, that would have been my fourth point.
Okay.
Yes, so that for me is a structural, let me say, antidote to the volatility in our exchange rates. Okay, so that structure they brought has actually streamlined the way people trade gold, and then the way we even have FX inflows. So now we have an institution who says that, look, all of you, I'm going to buy the gold through my institution, and then when I get the gold, I'll be able to sell it at a very good price, and then have more inflows coming in. Because when you look at the supply demand for a dollar, you realize that the demand is very high.
Yeah,
it's very high. So we always need to have some kind of buffers, of which we have done a very good job in building our reserves to about 14 billion, US dollars, which is about almost 5 months cover. You understand? So that is able to help us to cater for some of these demands that come in. So that has been a very good one. And just like I said, the exchange rate, which is more linked to it. We are an imported-driven country. A lot of things that we eat is imported. So if we are not having enough to import these ones, it means that we'll not have a lot of the CD being used to purchase a dollar. So that has actually also contributed to the decline in inflation.
Now, with this reduction in inflation, yes, so we have impressive figures of 3.8, and over since last year, there's been some decline. But people say they don't feel it. If you go onto the market, apart from maybe petrol prices, fuel price, which has gone down, not much has gone down. So of what relevance is this inflation to the household, the ordinary person on the market? If you come and, as you're telling us, inflation, that's a good thing, 3.8. To me, what does it mean to me?
Okay, well, I think that has been a critical conversation that's been had. Yesterday or 2 days ago, it was being had on one of the radio stations, and I feel that our understanding to inflation has been a little tweaked. Okay, so inflation, we are looking at the rate at which general prices are increasing of goods and services. So if we are looking at the rate, it's different from looking at the price itself.
Okay.
So when we look at the rate at which something is increasing or decreasing, when we look at the price itself, then we are looking at deflation.
Okay.
Yes. So just like you have a car and then you see that your tire is gone down, you said, oh, my car is being deflated. You see, But when you look at these 2 points where you say that the rate at which and then the food price, 2 different things. So if we go on the market and a tin of milk you used to buy 10 cedis and now it is 8 cedis, that is where we say that we have deflation and therefore it is affecting our pocket.
Okay.
What we are in now doesn't mean that there's no inflation. There is.
But it's just growing at the rate of 3.8.
Exactly. It's just growing at a slow pace compared to the previous one of about 5.4.
So it means that by 2.8, prices will still go high.
Yes.
But just that it's going high at just
a
that
slow
rate.
pace.
Okay.
That is what we have to understand. It doesn't mean that there's no inflation. It means that prices will go up, but at a slow pace. I can give you a fiscal example of deflation. Just like you mentioned, fuel prices. It's deflation. Prices of fuel have seen a deflation for some time. So you see that now, Girl is saying I'm selling at 9.9.
9.9.
But previously, it was selling about 11 point something. You get it? So those aspects of the, of the economy has experienced, but generally, which registers the figure of 3.8, inflation is still there.
So then does it mean that it will be appropriate economically for the entire country, everything to enter into deflation so our prices can go down?
Definitely. If we enter into that realm, then we know that we are going to feel it in our, because when I go to the market,
but isn't it going to cause an economic breakdown? Because then it means that the inflation figures are going to record negatives, I guess, if we enter into deflation.
Yes.
And if it's record, because across the world, I'm not sure there's any maybe just one, I think Japan also, which can record negative inflation. But across the world, it's not the case. So from economically, is it right? Let's say Ghana, we enter into a negative inflation. Is it healthy on our economy?
No, it will not be healthy. You see, inflation in itself is not very bad. Okay. We have a level that if you have, it is healthy for the economy. Because that also tells you that there's more activity, in the economy. Because every economy will want to see a lot of economic activities, which actually contributes to GDP. Okay, for us to see that the country is working and then we are improving on our income. So there's a level of inflation that is good for a country. But for the conversation we are having, it looks like we need to all go into the deflation. But at what level can we contain it? That's where the question lies. We need to go to a level, okay, maybe deflation will be good for some time and then we stay within that price, target. If we do that, then it means that we are in a certain healthy line in the economy. But when it deflate, what it means is that we are actually not, there's no economic activities. Businesses are not even going to make more money and all that. So we should find the balance. It's the balance that will help us know that, okay, this level is okay, and then that level is not okay. Yeah.
Right. But at the rate of government currently, do you foresee us getting to 0% inflation?
Well, it will be difficult to tell. It will be difficult to tell because there are some price pressures, risk lingering in there. Now, one of the things is that we've done well with fiscal consolidation. Now, with the fiscal consolidation, what we are trying to say is that government is not spending so much and so forth, and so therefore, our deficit is reduced. Now, when you look at data, you realize that immediately we go to IMF, we do very well. And so it's also a contributing factor to reduction in our inflation and also other macro indicators performing well. If we go that way, we realize that we do very well. And then after that, we are out of IMF. And then when we are out of IMF, in the first 2 years, we do very well. But after the first 2 years, we retrogress.
Yeah.
And that is where our problem is. You see, that is where our problem. So we should be very tactical and we should be very careful in the gains that we've made, especially when IMF. This year, I think around May, June, IMF will be out of town. So how are we going to continue the way we are continuing, which is a very good thing for every country who is coming out from, a ditch. So for me, inflation, I will not see it going to 0% or even 1 or 2%, but I want to say that we need to continue this way, and businesses should also come to the fore and contribute to it, because what we have seen with inflation is that our inflation has been a cost push inflation.
Okay.
When you talk about a cost push inflation, we are talking about the other factors that builds up the price of a certain good or service. Now, that build up involves a lot of things. Maybe exchange rates, maybe price of a commodity on the market, maybe an oil price or the gold price, or, transportation price and all that. All those things build into the product for you to give a cost to the product. So if government tries to relieve certain things like take out e-levy, take out COVID-19, then we should see some sort of price coming down so that people can feel it in their pocket. So businesses should, look at that and then try to help, the whole country, not just, helping the government, but the whole country, so that we can all be fine.
Yeah. But curiously, as you mentioned on the IMF, that typically when countries go to IMF, there's a lot of fiscal stability in the country. Why do we not maintain that which we are doing while the IMF is around? So that when they leave, then we are going to start thinking the fact that our indicators our vitals are going to drop. Why don't we maintain whatever we are doing when the IMF is away?
As for that one, I can't really tell why we are not even sticking to it, because in a layman's view or in personal finance, you say that in your household, if you know that your salary that you are earning is 2,000 Ghana cedis, and you know that you want to live within the 2,000, because if you live above the 2,000, you go running for loans, and you be in debt. Yeah. I think every household will be, prudent enough to stick to that. But when it comes to the nation, we don't actually see it as such. There was one Fed governor, or let me say Fed chair, they call it a Fed chair, like we call BOG governor. He said something that one of the biggest challenge in economies has been financial literacy. And that is quite surprising, because people who sit in those seats of Fed chair and, economic policy makers and all that, at least they should have some level of financial literacy. But in a certain sense, you realize that what he's saying, that's Alan Greenspan, what he's saying has some truth in it. Because I don't see the reason why in your house, you will not want to go beyond that which you earn. Yeah. You want to stay in. But when it comes to the whole economy in the whole country, you want to go beyond it. You get it? So if you don't come to that realization and understanding and know that in doing this in the short term, it will be hurting, some people will not like it and all that, but in the medium to long term, we'll be fine and everybody will be fine, then I think we should stick to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So now looking at what we have now, let's look at the sustainability. Okay. You've touched on it a bit, but let's look at what exactly, now looking at it from the government point. You mentioned earlier on the businesses, the government point, what can you do to sustain this?
Okay, so with the government point, I think they should still stick with the fiscal consolidation mandate they have and the promise they've given the people of Ghana. They should still stick to it. And then also the policy rate should, the monetary policy committee should also be looking at the economy very well and how inflation will behave, and especially how external factors behave. Because you see, we are seeing a lot of Trump-induced, let me say, distortion in the market or in the economy. There's a saying that when America sneezes, other developing countries catches cold. Yeah. And this man is able to speak or do something, and then it changes everything, especially for gold prices. we have, depended on gold and trying to use gold to build our reserves and have FX inflows. We should look at those markets and then monitor it very well so that we'll be able to determine where our economy should go. So government should stick with their fiscal consolidation promise and mandates that they have. They should also be looking at inflation very well, and they should also be looking at where we can add value in our, food supply chain. We should be able to say that, okay, we are going to build a factory, say for rice, because Ghana is one of the countries that really imports and eats rice a lot. A lot. The demand for rice in Ghana, if my memory serves me right, I think we're able to produce about 30 or 35% of it.
Of the demand.
The rest is imported. So look at how much money we are moving out of the country just for rice. And can we tell ourselves that we don't have the good soil, or let me say the land?
I was going to ask, is there no way we can expand our production capacity of the rice we are demanding?
Even wheat.
Yeah.
We have good land to produce wheat. And these are the, cereals and staples that we eat a lot.
Yeah.
There should be an agenda to look at these things, build factories around it, and add value to it.
And even things like chicken,
eggs, and all those things. And these are, stuff that are in the inflation basket, and then we measure. If we're able to concentrate on that, I thought that, the previous governments planting for food, could tackle some of these, but eventually it did not. And we saw inflation, skyrocketing. If we're able to concentrate on these things, I think we should be fine. And these are the things the government should come in. If the government cannot, because of fiscal consolidation, don't want to spend more, they should build that environment for the private sector.
Yeah.
And I think they are doing that, looking at lending rates also coming down right now. Okay. So private sectors can go into the banks and then go and borrow more to do some of these things.
But then the government policies like in Nkukon, do you think it can support, it can serve as a buffer, at least to reduce some of the imports?
Definitely. It should be able to support some of these things. And so I am looking at this in Nkukon Kitinkiti to be a very long-term thing that will even stay after whether they are still in power.
That's going to be hard. It's going to be hard because of our political transition.
Exactly. We shouldn't make it political at all. We should even allow it to be seen as a private sector thing.
Yeah.
So that the private sector will actually lead this kind of charge and help this Nkukon case. Which what it means that we are going to have a lot of people producing chicken, a lot of people producing eggs.
It actually makes sense, as you say now. Now, if we will step out of here and we are to move, let's say, a distance of 100 meters, we may find not less than 4 joints selling rice and selling chicken.
Exactly.
Rice in different forms.
Yeah.
And that's just a 100-meter radius.
Yeah.
Let's just go 1 kilometer. I'm sure we'll find more than 10.
Yes, we'll find more than 10. So if you're able to concentrate on the value added, and that has been the conversation for economists and analysts in the country, they've said it over and over, but it's unfortunate that we get there and then we are not doing it. We know all these things. Our economic managers know all these things. They have schooled even, in other places. They know the other, techniques and, economic policies that will make us. But I think that we are bereft of leadership. That is a very key thing that, yes, we are lacking. Somebody to lead and say that, look, we are stopping rice now today, just like Nigeria did, and we are producing ourselves.
If a Prof. Adair has made that call on the show before, that we have to take a strong stance against some of the imports.
Yeah.
That if we decide that we are no longer going to policy rice, as you said, that is one of the biggest imports we make.
Yeah.
But we have the capacity to produce. Then now we shift our attention to our local producers. We'd have saved ourselves a lot of money. Would have reduced also some of these figures that is skyrocketing.
Exactly.
Interesting. Now let's turn our attention to, for lack of time, let's turn our attention to illicit financial flow laws. The news has shown that Ghana lost an estimated amount of $54.1 billion to trade-related illicit financial flows, which was between 2013 and 2022. Now, that's a huge figure.
Yeah.
For one country alone, for a period of less than 10 years, we lose $54.1 billion.
Yeah.
Maybe for the benefit of our listeners, can you tell us what illicit financial flow loss is? I mean, just to explain to our listeners and our viewers.
Okay. So when we talk about illicit financial flows, or we shorten it to make it IFF, this is where people actually try to, misprice, misreport, and misstate the real value of goods that they are, exporting or even importing. You get it. So that is illicit financial flow, because people use it actually to, siphon money from the system and then put it on the offshore market. So that is actually the meaning of illicit financial flow. So just mispricing, misreporting, and then, either overstating the value or understating the value of that particular good that you are importing or exporting. Yes, so that is the meaning of.
What's the motivation? Why do people do that?
Well, people do that for several reasons. One of them is to evade, the customs structures. One of them is to evade taxes, and one of them is to also, push money into their offshore accounts or into other countries where maybe they have other businesses or they have some kind of stay, and then they want to go and enjoy life there. So these are some of the things, the motivation behind the illicit flow.
So this means that they are criminal activities, they're engaging in crime.
That would depend. If we are saying that we are outrightly making a law that criminalize people, then it means that it becomes a crime.
No, but is that to say that there are no laws on, let's say, misinvoicing or evading tax? Are there no laws on that?
Oh, for evading tax and then mispricing and all that, I think there are laws around it. But we are talking about explicit law on this particular trend, because this has been almost a decade. Well, I've not seen any law. Maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. For the past 10 years, and you are losing 54 billion. You went to IMF for about 3 or 4 years for just 3 billion. And now you are losing about 54 billion. That is
almost 20 times the amount we're looking for.
Exactly. That is something we should be looking at.
So you are advocating for a law to tackle these IFF issues?
Yes. There should be an explicit, clear law that is tackling these kind of things, so that, and even not only with the law, but systems to be put in place.
I was going to ask that, is the problem a problem of law, a problem of structure? Because if we use the ports, for example, if my knowledge is correct, I think there was a system set, was it ICOMS also? Which ICOMS, which was supposed to more like create a single window, but I think it collapsed also.
Yeah.
Then now people just went back to the manual ways of doing things.
Exactly. So we should have systems in place, and technology is far advanced to help us to do some of these things. I think around last year, Albania actually appointed an AI to become a minister.
Is it?
Yeah. And I thought it was a joke. Somebody posted in one of our pages. I thought it was a joke. I was like, oh no, this is just, one of these AI and I went to read the source, and it was true. I think it was, I don't really remember the source, but
yeah,
I can check.
Yeah.
And the reason they did that is for them to check corruption when it comes to procurement and contract and stuff.
To remove the human factor.
So they have the laws, they have the structures, they have everything. They will build that into an AI model where if you want to, if they are calling for a contract for something, you just put in your application and all that you need to put in there, and it will just run through the AI system, and then we'll be able to choose exactly who is qualified.
Interesting.
Yeah. So if you're able to put such thing as these AI models and technology, even blockchain technology, which is used in the crypto world, we'll be able to tackle some of these things. Unfortunately, Ghana, we are not too interested in data. And that's one of the difficult things that is killing us. You know, data will show and data will tell you the real picture. And so if you're able to build some of these things, it will help.
So you think that we should adopt technology?
Yes, technology and the law, with the law.
But Ghana, do you think that technologically we are there? Because, I mean, it's a laudable idea to think of the ports where you don't even need to meet a human being. You get there, you just show your bill of lading. It will just generate your invoice for you. You just pay, you move your goods. I mean, I think it will be laudable. But do you think technologically we are there? We can build that infrastructure?
We are not there yet. But we need to get there. We are not there, but we need to get there. We need to, you know, if it takes us to even employ some experts, you know, outside the country. And I know there's very good experts in the country even that can help us to build some of these, you know, technologies. Because it is very important that we get there. Look, if we look at all that we are using, which one is a technology that we have actually built for ourselves from scratch?
Yeah.
None of them. Or let me say, we'll get a few. But we are not able to build a certain technology. We all have to build it on or at the back of a technology that has been built from outside the country till now. You see, so we need to actually get it. It should be a deliberate initiative and mandate for us to go towards a technologically advanced economy. Yeah.
But somebody who asked that now our issues to our bread and butter. We have issues of we are now we need roads, traffic from one point to the other is extremely, should I say, devastating. Sitting in traffic like 4 hours in a place where ordinarily is a journey of about 20 minutes. Should we shift our attention towards technology at the expense of our bread and butter, whilst in the bid to solve some of these problems?
Well, I think that we should find a balance.
Yeah.
We should find a balance in the sense that even with people sitting in traffic for long hours, that should even tell you that we are not there yet as technological people, or let me say as a country. Because why would somebody in this modern day and age where we can have a train, you know, travel in minutes, you know, underground for just some few minutes, you know, high speed trains. If we have those things in place, we wouldn't see people sitting in traffic for long hours.
Yeah.
You understand? Because even long hours is one of the things that silently contributes to the kind of GDP numbers we are seeing.
Interesting. Tell me more about it.
Yeah.
Sitting in traffic.
Yes, sitting in traffic.
It has an effect on our GDP.
It has an effect on our GDP in the sense that if you need, say, 3 people to do a particular production, now you are saying that in a day your target is producing 100. And you just have one person there at the moment to produce the 100. Is that possible? No. The person might produce just about 20, 30. But if you have that 3 people there on time, you can produce 100.
100.
And that 100 goes up to contribute to the country's, you know, GDP. And that is where, and it's something that we have actually not talked about.
Yeah. So it means that if we assume we're solving traffic problem, our GDP may even increase.
It will be
more
higher
than
what we are seeing now. It will be higher than what we are seeing now.
Because productivity will be high.
Exactly. Productivity will be high. Why can't we have a train traveling from Kumasi to Accra?
And it's a short distance, actually. Because by flight it's maybe about 45 minutes.
Exactly. Why can't we have people staying in, say, Takrady and coming to work in Cape Coast or Accra?
Because in Europe, you have people living in Germany, working somewhere in maybe Belgium.
Yes.
Also.
And they use train. And they're able to get there on time. You understand?
Within a short period.
Within a short period. And if we are tackling these things, it will actually reflect, it will have a trickling down effect on our bread and butter. Because now I'm able to get to work early. I'm able to produce what I'm supposed to produce. And my company says that because we have set a target of 100, and if you produce it, I'm going to give you a bonus. So when I produce it and we have met our target, the company pays me bonus. I get more money. I'm able to cater for my bread and butter. So we need to find that balance and concentrate on developing these very fundamental, structures and stuff that can actually help our work so that our bread and butter will be catered for.
That's interesting. I mean, I haven't thought about it in terms of when you see people in traffic, they're very thick. I remember, I think yesterday I saw there was just very thick traffic.
Now the problem is even, it's increasing. Traffic is now serious.
Yeah,
people are standing, they are not having cars and all that. And we need to tackle that. If not, it can affect. We may see that, okay, inflation for the first quarter is higher than the last year's, quarter. But if you go into it and we are supposed to apply some sort of research and modeling, you realize that we could have achieved higher figures than what we are seeing.
Interesting. Maybe just to wrap up on the inflation, I think we've discussed the exchange rate bit, but maybe as a general question, touching on exchange rate and inflation. Recently, we have seen that government is introducing the bill for the 24-hour economy. Mm-hmm. What do you think generally on the 24-hour economy? What do you think of it in terms of our exchange rate and inflation? Is it going to have any effect? We'll have people working by day, some people working by night.
Okay, so I think 24-hour economy, in my little understanding, means that we want to work throughout the day. And in working throughout the day, we know definitely some people are going to go on shift. So to me, if you look at some of the sectors in our economy, some of the sectors are already doing that, and that is fine.
Okay, like which sector?
I think if you take even some of the pharmaceutical, shops, some of them are doing 24 hours. Some hospitals are also doing 24 hours. I've not seen some of the shops and restaurants yet, but yes, you could find a few people. Even some of the production houses.
Some restaurants, especially at the Christmas time.
Okay.
Some of the restaurants run 24 hours. There's one even down here. It run the whole night.
Perfect. So why did they do that? It means they want to produce more and make more money. So if we are making that as a policy and then making it more like a countrywide something, then it's a good thing. We are going to produce more and we are going to even have people get more jobs. Because if you are saying you are going to work long hours, one person cannot do that. We need to add additional people. So unemployment will go down, and then people are also going to increase their wages. You understand? But the question here is that what are the things or the structures we need to put in place to make this happen and to make it sustainable? We need to provide security for these restaurants. What it means is that you should even employ more, policemen or security service personnel into this, which is another physical area you have to look at.
But should that be the concern of government? So let's say the private sector, restaurant is running 24/7. Should that be the concern of government to provide for them security, like policemen on site?
Yes, it should. It should be, because as a government, you are bringing this initiative. You should create that environment. You could say that, okay, I'm not going to employ a lot of police because my cost will be high, but I can employ a community police personnel, of which we even have some in the system.
Yes, we have. Yeah.
So we are going to beef up that workforce and even train security companies to be able to also come on board to help these people. Because at the end of the day, when these people go there, the companies, which the restaurant, the shops, and they are going to pay for this service. So it will not directly come from the government. So we need to put in all those kind of strategies. Sometimes you need to even give tax waivers, to some of these people who will start. Because what is the incentive? Even though I'll come there, I'll come and do all that it takes, there's some kind of risk involved. But what will actually incentivize me to go ahead and do this? If government is supposed to say that, okay, I'm going to give you a tax break for, let's say, 3 years, 5 years, do it, employ more people and all that. That is good. So what we are going to put in place for this 24-hour economy, generally is a good thing. So what we are going to put in place is what is going to make, and it's going to affect, inflation and exchange rate. Because if, let's say, you are producing more on, you are producing more, say, rice. You have a rice factory and you employ more people and you are producing more. Definitely, we are not going to have a lot of cities chasing a few dollars. You understand? We are going to have, some of these things in our system. People can eat and eat well, and then we reduce the import of the rice. So it can definitely affect the exchange rate, bring the inflation also down.
Right. Indeed, it's going to affect the exchange rate. In fact, I'd have loved for us to have had more conversation on this aspect, especially on the 24-hour economy, but I think we've run out of time. So I'm going to take your final word. And so if you're to speak to the Minister of Finance or the President now on currently our exchange and our inflation status, what are you going to say to them?
Okay, well, if I have that privilege and honor, I think that I'll first of all commend them for what they've done so far, because for exchange rate to come to this level and for us to see a relative stability, then it means that for us to achieve this relative stability in our currency, what it means is that a lot of the imported goods are on the low. Okay, the prices are down, and so they should keep up that kind of good work, and they should really look at adding value to our natural resources like the cocoa, the gold, and then also concentrate on the data that is talking to us about the food that we always eat, rice, maize, corn, cereal. We should concentrate on, finding structures to build more of that so that it will feed the country. Because the data the inflation data, when you look at it, it tells a lot. If you look at those areas, the food inflation, if you look at those areas, you get to see which ones we are importing more, that we need local producers to concentrate on. So that's what I'll tell them. And I think all the other indicators will align. Yeah.
Indeed, we should add value and we should concentrate on those critical aspects of our economy where we import a lot and how we can be able to build local capacity. These are the parting words of our guest for today, Benjamin Nathan Autry, certified financial advisor and planner. Thank you very much, sir, for your time and for the wonderful insights you've shared with us. At least we would always remember when we see people in traffic, that the traffic is having an effect on our GDP.
Thank you for having me.
Right. Thank you. And many thanks to our cherished listeners who have spent their Saturday morning with us on The Focus, where we have been discussing the inflation over the last year, the illicit financial flow loss, and the exchange rate stability. Thank you all very much for your time. And in fact, for all those who also join us online, those who join us on our Facebook link, we are very grateful for your participation. We'll bring the show to an end here, and we will reconvene next week to further have a conversation where on The Focus, as I keep mentioning and maintaining, we always put Ghana first. So this week, as we enter into a new week, do well to do that which will make Ghana and Africa proud of you. Thank you very much, and God bless us all.
You're tuned in to Z 101.9 FM, your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.